Hey, good morning, Central. Thanks for joining myself and Sophia here this morning. Feel free to say hi to everyone in the chat. Let people know how you're doing. We want to be as much of a community as we can in the midst of this. Now, there's a very special reason I'm holding her, not just because she's cute and I wanted to include her today, but today I want to look at and talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart. And as a father, as someone who's really just figuring this out for the first time and wrestling with this for the first time, something that's really special to me. I want to read for you a passage of scripture from 1 Peter chapter 2, starting in verse 2. It says, like newborn babies, crave pure spiritual milk, so that by it you may grow up in your salvation. Growing up in your salvation. Now, it may not look like it at this point, but she's starting to walk around and she's starting to, as she pulls up on things, kind of make her first baby steps, her first steps ever in her life. She's learning what it's like to be a human for the first time. And one of the things that I've noticed, and it's been really enlightening to me, is how excited I get. Even when she makes a small bit of progress, when she starts babbling like she's doing right now, when she starts standing up for the first time, when she starts doing any of these small things that if any of us do them, they're not impressive. Nobody claps when I stand up, like I do for her. Nobody claps when I babble incoherent words. Nobody gets excited, but when she does it, it makes my heart melt. One of the things that I'm learning right now in my own faith is how much even those small steps in our faith make a difference to God. Those small steps, those little things that may not seem very significant to us, but to God, as He's watching us do them for the first time, it's so excited for us. We read in the scriptures, who among you, if your child asks for bread, will you give him a stone? Or if we who are evil know how to give good gifts, how much more so will our Father give good things to those who ask them? As she's growing up right now, she can't handle eating the same food that I can, eating steak, eating tacos, eating all these things that I'm able to enjoy. But at this point in her life, if I were to give this little girl a steak, it wouldn't be that enjoyable. In fact, it would be actually kind of dangerous and harmful. Here's what I want you to know, Christian, that what I'm learning about the faith through having my own child and through learning about what it means to have God as my Father, that no matter what tiny step I'm taking, no matter what He gives me, whatever little bit He gives me at a time in my growth, that He's in this for the long haul. That He likes the small bits of progress. He likes getting excited over those things. But He sees the future things that I can enjoy. He sees those things and He rejoices with me, fully knowing that those are things that I am going to be able to enjoy with Him. The other thing that I've noticed about having a daughter, and this will be the second half of what I'm talking about here today, is things that are unpleasant. Most of the things that I do for her that are beneficial, most of the things that I do for her, she doesn't enjoy. She had a cold a few weeks ago. Thankfully, it was just a cold, a very minor one. First time of her life she's ever been sick. And we had to, as these loving parents are supposed to do, stuck saline solution up her nose so she could be able to breathe, so she'd be able to get all that snot out of her mouth. And she starts crying and crying. First time we do it. Second time comes around, I'm holding this solution. I know she's going to cry. I know she's not going to like it. And I put it up her nose anyway. And what I've learned watching her grow, watching her take her first few steps, watching her learn to crawl, watching her learn how to eat applesauce, watching her learn how to do the most basic of things, is the reality of what's going on is most important of how God sees it. See, sometimes what we're doing in our life Might seem small, might seem insignificant, might be unpleasant, might be something we're not enjoying. But the most important perspective of what's going on in our life is actually not our own, but is God's. What's going on in our life. He sees how we're growing. He sees what direction we're headed. He knows those little milestone steps, those little baby steps. And he doesn't get mad at us just because we're not able to sprint right away in our faith. No, he rather knows that real growth, growing up in our salvation, so to speak, as Peter says, happens over the long haul. So, church, I want to encourage you with this morning. One of the things that the enemy tries to do is distort the view of your Father. He'll try to say that unless you make these massive commitments, unless you're committing to, say, praying 30 minutes a day, unless you're committing to do something each and every day, constantly, over and over and over again, unless you do huge things, then you're not really being a Christian. But what I have found is typically and more often the case, the best part of growth and the best growth happens as we grow little by little, often unbeknownst to us, because that's how growth happens, slowly and over time. C.S. Lewis once said, the slowest road to hell is a gradual decline, a gradual slow slope without any sudden turns, but comfortable, slowly losing the faith. It could also be said that the fastest way to grow in your salvation is slowly. And so, church, even though you might be taking a few steps, even though in your life right now you may be growing very slowly, be most concerned that you are. Because God sees those little steps, and he is not someone saying back angry that you're only able to take a few steps. No, what he's actually able to do as a loving father is see you take those first few steps, stumble, and sometimes lifting you up, celebrating that you took those first few steps, because you know and he knows that that means you are growing. Church, I know it's hard right now with the virus. I know it's, at least for my life, and I can't imagine what it's like to not be able to meet in person every Sunday. We're able to meet every Sunday right now. But I want you to hang in there. Those little steps of growth that are going on in your life with the Lord's help, they are significant. God is not angry at you for not being able to leap and jump whenever sometimes you just need to be able to learn how to walk with the Lord. Well, may the Lord protect you, and I pray you all have a great rest of your day.